Alright, what is up, guys? How is everybody doing today or tonight or wherever you guys may be at in the world? We're back with another video. It's been a couple of weeks, and yeah, I'm like, alright, I need to make some content, and not just for the sake of content, but for the sake of, honestly, I like making YouTube videos. Sometimes I just get in a little rut. But we're back with another video, and this time we're gonna have a little bit of a different approach. We're gonna go more of kind of like an educational video in a sense, and that is because on my Instagram page, a lot of you guys voted for a how do I trade, and so in this essence, we're gonna be going over specifically how do I trade US 30 because that is one of the asset classes that I mainly focus on because yeah. um, but with that being said, let's dive straight into the video. The last video that I actually had was a part 2 of me completing my FTMO challenge. And yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna drop some more news, some more updates on that very, very, very soon on this page. And with that being said, let's go ahead and just drive straight, not drive, but let's go straight into this video on how do I trade US 30. And so historically, US 30 is very bullish, historically, right? Historically, US 30 is very bullish. Of course, anything that has to do with stocks, anything in that pretty much basket is historically going to be very bullish, right? And so once we understand what's actually happening in, I'm not gonna say the grand scheme of things, but more so just where we currently are, then we have a better idea of what are we really looking for, right? And so with that being said, for the last, I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The highest US 30 has reached was about 37,000. Was about it. It might have just nicked it, if memory serves me right. It might have just nicked 37,000, and that line is way too thick, right? Well, it might have just nicked 32,000. I mean 37,000. Excuse me. Right, like literally right under it before price is doing what it's currently doing, which is it's retracing heavily, and well, at least in the monthly time frame, but not just retracing heavily, but also just in these lower, in this downtrend that is being created because of a lot of economical things happening, which you know I match it up with my technical analysis, right? Because if that all these fundamental events are happening, which could not so much hinder you, but more so it could actually um, you could use it to its advantage, but just as long as it matches what you're seeing in a technical standpoint when it comes to your analysis, right? Because to me, in regards to whether fundamental or analysis or whether fundamental or technical, I'm always going to trust my technicals over fundamentals, and if my technicals align with the fundamentals happening, then even better. And that's just more confluence, more information, more confirmation of what's actually happening. So on the monthly time frame, this is just my overall, and I'm gonna actually change the color of that. But this is kind of like the area where I see traffic pretty much coming to where I pretty much see price coming for some more traffic in terms of where it might head to next. So we could look at it as an overall monthly demand zone. I could change the color of this and put, I mean, let's say, nope. Let's go with dark blue right now. Go with dark blue. Okay, on the weekly time frame, and that's I'm just looking at this area as a potential area of demand that we might see happening. Okay, on the weekly time frame, we are actually here with it, right? So this could actually call for the actual bullish move that actually ended this day. Excuse me, that actually ended this day. Okay, with a little bit of a rebound, and you will see that more in the lower time frames because this particular morning on May 20th of 2022, price dropped very. It was about a 1,000 point move, about 10,000 pips, but over the end of the of New York session, not just New York session, but over the end of the actual trading day, since it is a Friday, it actually rebounded pretty nicely, but still at a loss for the day. And so this could play some huge part as to why that happened. Um, and yeah, guys. So with that being said, just some areas of interest that I'm already looking at, which led to me continuing to wanting to sell, was areas such as this being broken on the weekly time frame, right? different people tend to draw their supply and demand zones differently. I like to go based off of the wicks. Okay, other people like to go based off the bottom of the wick with one of the bodies of the candle closures and such and such. But just catch the concept that I'm going with when it comes to this video in particular. Catch the concept, and that will inevitably help you, so much more than, how exactly am I, whatever, how exactly am I entering, or putting my supply and demands on, right? At the end of the day, nothing is really set in stone. Everyone has their own subjective ways of looking at things. But as long as the concept is being understood, you guys will have a general understanding of what the market is planning on doing. Okay. So with that being said, we have that going on the weekly time frame, I did have a bearish trend line, and so I usually go from here. I was using this one. I was using this wick to continue my actual trend line, but when I made this lower high point, I actually went ahead with this one and just ran with it. And so I like to have, excuse me, so I like to just have boom trend line, this regular black line. Okay, and mind you, this is things that could be, customized, not customized, but just could be edited and changed as our analysis is developing, right? Of course. So here we actually are. Okay, so now we are on the daily time frame, and daily time frame is super, 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 super key, right? Because ever since we pretty much topped out at almost the $37,000 mark on US 30, we've pretty much been making lower highs ever since then, right? And just going with the overall trend. So that's super important when it comes to what we're actually, what our goal is with US 30. We never want to be against the trend. We never want to be against the market. We always want to be with it. Okay. So the most important thing that we're noticing here, especially on the daily time frame, is that we were in an area, not so much in an area, but we see that this weekly level of demand, ended up breaking. Okay, which is phenomenal, right? Previously in like March, the beginning of the first week of March or start of the second week of March, okay, price was respecting this demand zone really, really, really well. And with that being said, we have to understand that the more touches that the demand zone gets, the more weaker it ends up being, right? And so that's exactly what ended up happening on the daily time frame. It ended up breaking, but there's more reasons in terms of the lower time frame as to why we could have actually taken advantage of this move without that even happening, without even having this weekly level of demand even present. So with that being said, just to clean up the chart, I will be taking that out. And I'm also going to be slowing down the way that I am talking because I could already feel the Dominican enemy could kind of like rushing out. And so, yeah. But here we are. So daily time frame, we're looking at a little bit of structure now. Okay, so we have a high, we have a low, first lower low that ended up breaking this previous higher low point. Okay, so this could be seen as our quote unquote break of structure at this point. Okay, then from there, we ended up retracing, creating another lower low, small pullbacks. In terms of candle closure, yes, it made a lower low. In terms of wicks actually being created, price actually went all the way down to about 32,275. But here we have some candles that actually closed below right here, which to me is more important than where the wick actually went. Okay, from that we have to also just understand what is happening, okay? Because on the daily time frame, do we really want to count this point as a lower high? Maybe on lower time frames 100% we definitely can, but on a daily time frame I'm not really considering this a lower high point, okay? But what I am considering a lower high point is this price right here, which inevitably ended up making a double top bottom, a double top pattern, which from here it gave us tons of areas where we could have entered in for ourselves and pretty much where we are in today. Okay, and so I'm gonna focus especially on what happened these last couple of days because this is where we currently are. And so for that, we have to just bring it down a time frame. But I do want you guys to understand a couple of things, right? We have tons of confluence, right? So now we're in the daily time frame. So I'm just gonna make this daily red. Okay, daily time frame that we could have capitalized on both buys and sells, just understanding where we are. All right, so this is an area of resistance that turns support. Up here is an area of just overall resistance on the higher time frame. Areas where we see tons of wicks being rejected, especially right here. And so that tells you something. That tells you that buyers are slowing down and that we're having sellers come into the market again. When we have all these wicks, that tells you that the momentum of buyers are actually slowing down. And so that's something that you guys always want to be looking out for is these areas that that buyers keep on getting rejected in, and also sellers, right? Whenever we are in a buyer's market. And so we got that same kind of reaction when price actually came over here again, which inevitably, gave us some more selling opportunities, right? But once again, this level of resistance that became support did it once again. So this level of support now became resistance. And so I'm just gonna have it right there drawn up for you guys to actually see. Okay. And this is where we currently are at in the market right now. So this is what's actually happening. I'm not gonna go too crazy in terms of just all the technicals and stuff because we are still on the daily time frame. But now we're gonna drop it down to the 4 hour time frame. Okay, so with that being said, this is how this entry could have been actually taken, was because of the fact that we have some level of support that became resistance. This 34,000, 34,000, this $34,000 dollar price point was a heavy, and I'm not gonna say institutional, but just oh yeah, I'm gonna say an institutional price, or a very, or a psychological level where it just kept on getting rejected by tons of buyers, right? We see all these movements, all of this movement happening within literally this entire area, and how price kept on coming back up multiple times, right? But overall, structure maintained, right? There was never any reason where we wanted to switch our overall bias that is given to us on the higher time frames, right? And so, that being said, it's all about understanding where you are in the market. Because once you understand that, whether you guys need like a notepad or just like a sticky note on your computer, your laptop, or a big whiteboard that I have right in front of me, that tells me my bias on different time frames and what I'm actually seeing, just as a little bit of a reminder. Anything like that could actually help you to just know where you are at, and kind of like a little bit of a reminder of, hey, by the way, this is what we're looking for, okay? And then if you have any reason where you believe a transition might be happening, or a switch of momentum, then you just want to look back into the higher time frames to confirm what it is that you're seeing. And yeah, you guys are able to go ahead and just base your analysis off of what's currently happening. Okay, so yeah, so we have this huge, massive sell-off. So I remember, I remember catching this entry, missing this one, but it just asked myself many times, why did I close certain setups that I didn't really need to close? But at the end of the day, what's more important is actually knowing that the analysis is correct, and just keep on trusting that, because if you keep on trusting your analysis and keep on focusing on the actual move and catching that move and understanding why you caught that move, then that's more important than the actual money being made, because inevitably the money will follow, right? And so we have the daily time frame still confirming the sell. Price is still below the daily trend line. We're just gonna smack another trend line on the 4 hour time frame. Okay, just to confirm. That's just so much to confirm, but just kind of like just keep us at bay of what it is that we're seeing. Okay. So hopefully the chart isn't too cluttered. But even for those out there that like to add tons of things into your charts, trust me, you guys understand what it is that you're seeing, okay? And so we keep on having these lower high points being created, right? So lower high, lower high, lower high. This was a beautiful area, which I'm just going to just section off by itself right here. I'll bring this a little bit more back. Okay, I'm just gonna section this area off by itself. And you know, when it came to, this was the 17th, so this was about 3 days ago. Beautiful entries at around 32,500, depending on your entry point. But we want to focus on yesterday, or well, today. we're gonna focus on today. Okay, so like I said, you should always be focusing on what's happening on the higher time frames, bearish momentum, no reason why, not so much no reason, but no reason why if you're going with the trend, you should be looking for buys. Okay? If you understand what it is that you're doing and you're perfectly fine with catching counter trend trades, then of course it's up to you guys. As long as you know you guys have your own exit strategies, but this video isn't really for that. And so with that being said, we're just gonna bring down to the 1 hour time frame and focus heavily on what it is that we're now seeing over here, right? And so today's move was actually this actual overall area right here, and I'm gonna actually show you guys how I would have gone about this entry, how I would have gone about actually, marking it up, charting it up, and what I would have been looking for an actual entry point. And pretty much with this, gave you guys an idea of how it is that I really trade US 30. Okay, and just not just this, but just any other asset class. Okay, and so with that being said, we're still following instructions. So what we're seeing now is that price dropped about 900 points. I mean, literally 32,600, 31 300, so about 1,300 points. Okay, and then we had a little bit of a pullback. This is not a full retracement, so there's a little bit of a excuse me, of a pullback. And so, tons of confirmations already there to want to go ahead and enter into the trade. You guys see a bearish variation candle pattern that could actually be entered based off of that. But it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I do not trade US 30 at 1 o'clock in the morning, just being honest with you guys. But if you're awake and you saw the setup and you trusted your analysis and you're seeing what you're seeing, then you could definitely go for that, okay? But we had that price actually make a nice lower low and actually make a full recovery back into the area once again. So now, while this is happening, we're also seeing this nice counter trend being formed and tons of wicks being created. So I'm gonna stop the path tool right there. And now from the 1 hour, we're gonna dive down to the 15-minute time frame. Okay, and what I want to catch off of this 15-minute time frame is a nice trend line. I want to use this right here. So I'm gonna base it off of I'm gonna base it off from this wick. Cool. So something like that, and then we could have gone something like this. Yep, here we go. Cool. There we go. Right. So I usually base it off wicks. Okay, and because of it, it just tells me, it just shows me more of a precise point where I could actually base my trend line off of. And once I kind of have a nice median of where the trend is actually being formed, then I could just go ahead and take out the first one. We're basing it off of this bullish candle before the actual move happened, and we're gonna correlate that with this point right here where price kept on continuing in the bullish direction. Okay, and so with that being said, I already knew that coming into this, that price in this area is where most of the heavy resistance, in terms of just heavy resistance, it's not like a very and not intellectual, but it's not like a heavy resistance. Let's go with that. It's just a level of resistance that where where we're getting tons of wick rejections and where buyers are getting rejected a lot. Okay, for just layman's term. And so coming into this, I had anticipated it, but at the time I just didn't really catch a reason to really enter it. And so here we go. So pretty much I start trading at about 9:30. So I'm gonna just close off this entire area. We'll make it highlighter. Close off this entire area. And so with that being said, I like to get very deep into the details of the actual structure. Anyways, I'm waiting for the details of actual structure. And so with that being said, we're already seeing, same concept. We're already seeing price rejecting this area once again, like it did, boom, boom, twice already. And so I'm already like what I'm looking to already do is just find that area. So we're on a 15-minute time. Just find, that area that it just makes sense to just create, a bearish trend. And even if we have to go down to the 5 minute, like I will do it. Okay. From this point, I just want to mark off levels of support and resistance. And so obviously we have this price point up here as our area of resistance. I'm gonna put this in H1, even though it's not an H1 time frame, but we're gonna put this color on it. And our area of support that we have, where if support breaks, then that's a confirmation to start actually taking the sells. We're gonna have it about right here. Okay, actually, the one that makes sense is right here because we're getting tons of rejection off of this area on the 15-minute time frame. Now that you guys know what area we're really focusing on, I'm gonna leave that right there. And so simply off of seeing this, we already have enough confirmation to already want to enter into the sell. And now all I'm really just waiting for is I don't really base my entries off of a certain price. Yes, I have a price in mind. I have an area that I pretty much like, but I'm waiting for, just candle confirmations overall. But here we have, just follow structure with me, guys. Low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, low, lower high, low. It didn't break yet. Low, equal highs, lower low, boom, lower high. And so this right here, or pretty much this general area was our break of structure in essence. Where now we can wait for a retracement, a retest, look at it as support, uh, support that turned into resistance. Where now we could actually capitalize it and actually find our entry in the 1 hour time frame. Okay, and then from there, I like to put my stop loss right above the wicks. In this case, this is about a 100 point stop loss. And then when it comes to take profit zones or areas, I usually am aiming for previous areas of support. And so um, this was pretty much what I would have been aiming for. This was exactly what I'm aiming for, right? And there's that. Okay, so that would have been the setup, but also understand, that you guys could have definitely held that trade until you have a reason to actually close it, right? As you can see here, area of resistance that was never broken, never really given any real reason to really get out of the trade, right? And so that's how pretty much I look at US 30 in a sense. And what I am looking for now, in the week to come is for price to actually continue, right? Price to actually continue this downtrend, okay? And I'm expecting price to now go, to actually drop down all the way to about $30,000, so at $30,000 price point. And so that's my pretty much outlook on US 30. And I hope that this actually helped you guys. This is my first time really doing a video like this and just sharing it with the public. And of course, we're gonna see what ends up happening, of course, and it will come next Saturday, and we'll look at it, of course, and then I'll speak about it. But if this level of support, I mean, excuse me, if the level of resistance gets broken, then of course, I mean, not we, but I might be looking for some potential buying opportunities. And if there is any buying opportunities, I also have to understand that it's not going to be long lived, right? It's not. We look at the daily, we look at the weekly, very heavy selling pressure. And with that being said, that is all, guys. Drop some comments below. Drop what you guys would love to see in the next video, next Saturday. And yeah, guys, show some love. I have my Instagram page on the actual somewhere around there. And DM me if you guys have any questions. I'm gonna definitely reach out back to you guys, or at least try to. I'm a very bad texter, but I like to communicate with the community as much as I possibly can. And yeah, guys, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I will be dropping some more content on the following weeks to come. Peace, guys. I catch you on the next one.